I suppose it's only human nature to be scared of things. We're all scared of spiders and birds, and I even met somebody once that was scared of balloons and cotton wool. Yeah, they had some serious issues. For me personally though, I don't think I'm really scared about that many things, apart of course from the obvious like ventriloquists, dummies and Celine Dion, although I suppose strictly speaking I find them more creepy rather than full-on scary. As cyclists, there are going to be things that you will find scary, particularly if you're new to cycling, but I'm here today to try and allay some of those fears and perhaps show you that those things aren't quite as scary as maybe you first think. Now, this isn't going to be one of these traditional kind of how-to vlogs that will show you what you need to do to overcome whatever it is I'm talking about. Basically, what I'm going to do now is perhaps give you a few pointers as to why that thing isn't as scary as you first think, but then I will also direct you to a playlist where there will be a how-to video. So top of the pops for many new cyclists particularly has to be having a puncture and then having to fix that flat by the side of the road. Basically, if you're running any sort of tyre, it doesn't matter if it's tubeless, I know many of you are running tubeless and I've certainly punctured with a tubeless, or if you're running traditional tube tyres, you will puncture at some point. And if you can't fix that flat by the side of the road, you're going to have either an expensive taxi ride or an embarrassing phone call to your other half to come and pick you up, or a long walk home. So it's probably best to know how to fix that flat by the side of the road. Like I say, I'm not going to show you how to do that here now. There will be a link to a video showing you how to do that. But what I want to say is that fixing a flat isn't actually that scary. And like most things that scare you initially, you can overcome that fear with a little bit of confidence. And in this particular instance, the way you can build up that confidence is to practice fixing a flat or changing a tube in the comfort of your own home. So what you can do is just take your back wheel out or your front wheel out and just practice changing the tyre at home. Now, the only thing that's really going to make changing a flat or fixing a flat particularly difficult is if the tyre is tight on the rim. But once you've overcome that, fixing a flat, changing the tyre or changing the tube rather, is going to be very easy and very straightforward. And if you can do that in the comfort of your own home, in the warm, in the dry, you're not standing there by the side of the road having to do it for the first time with cars whizzing past you, with the rain pouring down or time running out before you need to get home. You can relax, you can do it at your own pace, you can even have a nice cup of tea and a couple of hobnobs there to help you along your way. And then I would suggest that if you can do that 3 or 4 times, it will be so much easier when you have to do it for real actually on the side of the road. The next thing that many cyclists find a little bit scary is adjusting their brakes and adjusting their gears. Now, adjusting derailleur brakes were at one point for me a bit of a black art. I just didn't know even where to begin. And it was only when I first started doing YouTube that my friend Tony showed me how to do it. And again, I'll leave a link to that vlog below here. And essentially he showed me that it was very, very easy, and all you need to do is just adjust it with an Allen key and a couple of clicks and you should be there on your way. And then similarly, adjusting your brakes is literally a question of just doing up a barrel adjuster and then tightening them up. And like I say, I'll leave a link to those videos in the description below. The next thing that many cyclists are scared of, and again I'm guilty of this, although it was a particularly long time ago, is riding with cleats for the first time. Now, the thought of being actually connected to your bike and not being able to lift your feet off the pedals can be very, very scary. And I remember when I first started riding with cleats, I found it very unusual and very restrictive. And yes, I did fall off, and I know many people when they first start riding with cleats also fall off, but the way to overcome that is just to practice in a very quiet, very soft area, so that when you do fall off you're not going to hurt yourself. But believe me, you will quickly become very used to riding with cleats, and before you know it, literally 2 or 3 rides, you will be wondering why you didn't do this before. Now, I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of how efficient all of that is, because I'm not going to debate that. I personally would never ride without cleats because I do find them particularly useful. But all I'm saying now is that if you start riding with cleats and you give it a bit of an opportunity, you will not be worried about unclipping from your bike, because it will become second nature. Fourth on my list is something that up until literally about 10 days ago I was very, very scared about, and that is replacing a spoke. Now, a few days ago I went out on a ride, and when I was 20 kilometers from home I broke a spoke, and long story short, I couldn't fix it by the side of the road. I had to phone a taxi, and then it cost me £25 to get back. I then came home and I watched a GCN video, would you believe? There you go. And it wasn't actually that difficult to change the spoke. So I went out into the garage and I did it, and lo and behold, I'd fixed I'd replaced the spoke. I was really pleased with myself. So in this particular instance, I will leave a link to that GCN video, because yeah, it just worked and it was easy to follow, and it was a very good video. And there you go, I've said it, a GCN video, it was very good. So there we go, that's just 4 things that many cyclists find a little bit scary. And like all scary things, once you know a little bit more about how things work and what you need to do, they cease to become scary. So there you go, just go out, try those things, and I'm sure you will be surprised at how easy they actually are. Thanks for watching.